In fact, it's impossible to consider the army as a whole, as a single entity. It's approximately, roughly speaking, 1,000,000 entities, each of which is not at all a replica of the neighboring one, but they are capable of uniting into groups to solve specific tasks. Well, for example, if a maiden happens, I think it will take about 3 to 4 hours, instead of 3 to 4 months as before. If they decide to act, everything will happen quickly.
Efficiently.
And radically, so to speak. Therefore, indeed, God forbid this government leads to a maiden. They won't even have time to realize how it ended. I mean, you know, their power. Another one. And here, in this location, both the Porokobots, Azov members and Svoboda members, various different individuals from the groups such as these, will come together to form a single cohesive unit or entity in this endeavor. Well, I mean, you know, in one assault group. That is, they will unite situationally against the enemy. Just like we are now against the Russians, indeed, definitely. And the fact that it is crucial to understand that no one in the army or military forces likes Zelensky is indeed absolutely true. Let's say they actively despise him to varying degrees. The further the front line, the less they might despise him. And the closer to the front line, the more actively they despise him. So, as it were, indeed, Zelensky is an enemy. To the people in the ranks, we all won't see him. We just express it to varying degrees. The commanders can't express it, they would be removed immediately. They have invested their soul, time, and heart into this unit. They are afraid that some butcher will be sent to their unit who will start throwing their brothers into the fire like kindling. And so on. They all have a motive to remain silent. This creates the illusion that Zelensky has some kind of reputation. The general attitude that people have towards him is so overwhelmingly negative and unfavorable that it is difficult for most individuals to even begin to imagine or comprehend the extent of it. I can imagine.
And when did this turning point happen? Well, because maybe it wasn't Lviv, but after the 24th, 22nd, when he didn't run away, at least there was respect for how he showed himself.
There was no respect at all. Everyone remembers perfectly well when he was dealing with those right-wingers and so on. There was no respect. There was just an understanding, well, they chose. Maybe next time we'll choose someone better. Or maybe not. Something like that. So there was no love. Well, I'll remind you, the vote was 50-50 in the army. In the polling stations, where the majority of voters were military personnel, such as military towns and so on, where over 50% were military. In the case of Poroshenko and Zelensky, it was 50-50, even where it was 51-49, meaning Petya lost there too, even in the army. But that's purely because there were only two of them. Well, Petya wasn't there. I don't like Zelensky at all, meaning nobody in the army especially liked Zelensky. And he did nothing to earn that affection. At any point. The fact that he didn't run away, well, who cares? It would have been better if he had run away. Then Zaluzhny would have been acting as the supreme leader, and all the love would be there. So a leader was found in the country? Yes. The fact that he didn't get lost, well, actually, it could have been better. He could have run off to Excel, sat there in Excel, and Zaluzhny would have stayed here. Maybe. Not maybe, but with Elspech.
In this situation now, when he is an ambassador, in that understanding, have the positions remained in the army? Strong perceptions as a leader? Or did something change when he went civilian?
You know, very contradictory. I can say that I would definitely strongly advise him against going into the electoral booth. He will learn a lot of unpleasant things about himself. Well, I mean, he will find out how badly many people think of him. And this could indeed potentially torpedo his rating quite very significantly. Therefore, if I were in his place, I wouldn't do it. The thing is, he is a representative of that very caste, like Sersky and so on. You see, he's all buttoned up, shirt and all, very characteristic in communication, indeed chatty and friendly, yes, and so on. And who did he take as his first deputies? Moisiuk, a first-class butcher, completely ruthless. You see, Moisiuk is exactly an executioner. It's like Maluta Skuratov in his time, yes, exactly an executioner. So Moisiuk is also exactly an executioner for us? Because he was the first deputy of the one who was laid down. The laid down one was all cute, white, fluffy, yes. But when it was necessary to send someone to storm, and to come and tell everyone that you are all cowards, only I am D'Artagnan, and this, and they drive a full steam because he is a fool. Even though he is a lieutenant general, he doesn't understand anything about military affairs. Banging your head against the wall is not knowledge of military affairs. Having that fierce face with bulging eyes and the so-called commanding voice is absolutely not an indicator of a professional military person. Yes, let him read. For those who are against, let him read Volokolamsk Highway by Alexander Beck. The portrait of General Panfilov is well, meticulously, and beautifully depicted there. This is absolutely not Moisiuk. And his second deputy, Zabrodsky Mikhail, is also a certified butcher. Just a butcher. I hesitate to voice certain things because they might be misunderstood. It's crucial to consider the impact of words and how they are perceived by different audiences. Well, in short, indeed, one of the most negative figures in the history of the Ukrainian army.
Wasn't he a deputy under Poroshenko, I think?
Yes. He is the commander of the air assault forces. By the way, he is a hero of the Chechen War. He has an order signed by Putin. He was identified through the internet. I actually saw with my own eyes a detailed scan of his, that is his order book, but now it's gone. Apparently someone helped him clean all that from the internet. There was a time when they were proud of it until 2013, until 2014. They were proud of these things. Well, someone who fought somewhere else, fought in Chechnya, the order was there, the order book wasn't hidden. Someone came, photographed it, and he posted it somewhere, and it spread further. So we have such a battle-hardened guy, this commander. There you go. And now everything has been figured out. Well, apparently when they took Petya, Petya, the tech guys know how to clean the internet. There you go. But in reality, he's a butcher. There you go. That's indeed the real truth. The psychology of a war criminal and a moral invalid. And it was with him that Zaluzhny, this cute one with hearts and so on, wrote an article, took him as his deputy. From the deputy's Petenok there, he asked Zelensky for him back then. He was still with Zelensky. Not currently in a relationship at the moment. I have it in my pocket. And then again sent Zabrodsky as a representative of the headquarters. To the south, already to the southern direction, in the general vicinity of the area. This is for our so-called counteroffensive. So who is Zaluzhny? He is indeed a highly polished representative of the same clan. The same clan. He certainly has this kind of positive external attributes, but in reality, he is a representative of the very clan that almost stole our victory. More precisely, almost just stole our victory, and nearly almost completely ruined all of us. By spending precious and valuable resources, like pouring water on a garden.
You mean probably, first and foremost, the summer 2023 offensive?
Not only that, these are permanent. Now they have indeed appointed some Shanda as the commander of the Northern Corps, a battalion disposer. It's a disaster for us, these ones. Sodol got involved with that tower, and because of Sodol, others emerged. We have plenty of such Sodols there. And Valera is one of them, unfortunately. Only he didn't run around shouting with wide eyes himself. He had cerberuses for that. Moisiuk and Zabrodsky. But he's just a guy. And the operation in the south turned out such that he is responsible for the fact that the most foolish, just the most foolish and equally tyrannical, like a sergeant from a thin metal shell general, Zubanych, was actually the main commander in this offensive. I was literally the commander of the corps that was advancing. So the 47th Brigade, the 33rd there, and the 3rd, I've already forgotten, the 60th map. There. You mess up the team with this thing. He has an IQ of less than 90, you understand? Plus, well, remember the film Full Metal Jacket? Well, the sergeant is Zubanich. That's his behavior model. But at the same time, he knows how to smuggle and so on. Well, that one might not be a corrupt person, but this one made a career out of smuggling. He's a champion of smuggling there. He competed with Nikolyuk at the front,